Now it should be, yeah, there you go. Awesome. Reposition that a little bit, and I think we're good now. Okay. So, if anybody is watching, I was messing around with some of the audio and video settings last night, and I think that I resolved most of the issues that I was having. It seems like the compression ratio is better, the noise gating is better. Overall quality of the stream for like video and audio seems to be a little bit better as well. Let me know if I am a little quiet. I did up the compression rate and change the noise gating quite a bit, so hopefully it's not picking up too much. But as audio stuff goes, looks like we're good on that. Probably turn it up just a little bit. Cool. Looks like everything is in the green and the yellow, nothing in the red. Yeah, so yesterday I was trying to do a stream, and I was trying to showcase a bunch of the new face toggles that I just implemented via Unity for my Vroid model. That's the model that you see here that I made last week. And I was having a little bit of trouble. I think that one of the things was stuck on a toggle and instead of a key hold, like a key press hold function. So we were struggling with that a little bit. I had to reset a few times. I also wasn't feeling very well. My throat was hurting. So everything is looking a little bit and feeling a little bit better now. I am gonna go ahead and start showing off some of the stuff that I was able to put together. As far as the facial expressions and stuff go. So we have surprise. Oh. Whoa. We have like a shy, embarrassed kind of thing going on here. Like, ugh. That shock. Like, what else do we have here? We have appalled. I don't know, man. That's just cringe. Cringe emote, you know? Kind of the cringe one, but like it just makes me sick. We did do sweat, but like you can't really see it very well because of the hair, so I'm probably gonna have to change that up a little bit. I didn't have the hair down. I had the hair like off on the model, so we'll have to maybe tweak that one a little bit. Oh, thank you, Alter. I appreciate that. I hope you're having a good day. For this is the curse reaction. Curse content reaction there. Okay, awesome. So it looks like the chat and stuff is working as well on my screen. I wonder if there's a way to reposition that just a touch. Probably something like that, I'm hoping. That way it's not so much in the way. Yeah, I appreciate you stopping in, Alter. That's really, really nice of you. I know you're working right now, though, so I understand if you can't respond. Throw this guy buffs. He's out in the grind, too. Gotta support the homies, right? Yeah, so just going over all those toggles again. Hopefully the audio quality is a little bit better today. I did tweak a lot of stuff. The video quality should be up as well. I'm not sure about Kick. Kick seems to have a little bit of a... I don't know if it's like a latency issue or a bitrate crunching issue, or maybe it's just me streaming just to multiple things. I don't know necessarily, but we'll figure it out eventually. It's just going to take a couple of tries, I think. See if I can do the eye roll. That's the only time you can see my eyes is when I do the star eyes, so. I don't know how well that portrays, but should have eye tracking on and stuff too for eye tracking challenges and all that. Gameplay stuff for raids so that you can see where I'm looking, what I'm focusing on primarily. A lot of the times there's going to be the raid frames for World of Warcraft though, but for some of the other stuff, like, I think it would be a cool integration to try to include eye tracking. Maybe for MOBAs and stuff like that. Or horror games. Let's see, one other reaction that I had put together that's a combo thing is when somebody says some out-of-pocket-ish, you hit them with that. The old maybe if people roast me or something. You know how chat gets. Ooh, is that a fight? Am I fighting? I love fighting. I'll fight right now. I'll show you what fighting's all about. There's so many of them. Wait, no, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I don't want the smoke, bro. Let me tweak this real quick. Quick little tweak. So I deleted the VODs from previous stuff just because of all the technical issues that I was having and the quality and stuff, so, you know, it's not like I'm ashamed of anything that I'm working on. I just, if you did happen to see it before or whatever and wondering why I deleted it, it's mostly just so that I can support a full showcase of everything without it being broken down into these weird sessions where I have to force end because of a technical issue. I am, you know, still learning a lot of the stuff that I'm working with. I have no prior experience before like 3 weeks ago for any of this stuff, so it's very on the fly and cram study sort of stuff. Hopefully the model movements, like for the mouth and stuff, are remotely accurate. I think that might be a little too responsive. I don't know. Let me know what you think. As far as the model and the tech that I'm using to do all this stuff, I started in Vroid Studio for the 3D model. I just made fresh. I didn't use any existing things besides what you can do when you just hit create new. And I imported that into Unity as a VRM file. It is important to note that the stuff that I did with the facial animations and everything afterwards is all VRM 0.0 implementations. I think that's the only way that I could get it to work. I did try some of the 1.0 stuff, but I don't know if the Unity casing, like the tutorial stuff that I was watching, basically wanted to use like the 2019 version of Unity in a couple of different formats, so I did that and then you know, saved all the project files and stuff and transported them over. It was a VRM 0 model though, not a VRM 1, so maybe there's a lot more potential for people who are more experienced with this kind of stuff and making their own unique facial expressions. If you do know anything about that, then feel free to give advice. I am an open ear to criticisms and for new ideas and stuff. I don't shy away from that. I just found it easier to use older save states and versions of stuff. As far as creating all this stuff though, it was all free. Everything you see is free. So the model creation through Vroid, Unity as a program for designing and implementing new reactions and doing cell shading and stuff like that, like the hair. I'm not very good at cell shading, obviously, I will openly admit that. I think it's really cool. It's a beautiful art form, especially for like the new palettes that coincide with like cyberpunk and VTubing and stuff. I think that that's all really, really, really cool, but I am woefully inexperienced with all that kind of stuff. I did try a little bit on the hair and a couple of other spots, like the outline. If you look really, really close, it is like red. So I tried to do a decent little contrast thing there. But yeah, so Vroid and Unity, as far as the motion capture stuff goes, I am using VC Face, but I'm using a pre-program before that in the stack, and it is called XR Animator. It's an updated version of System Animator, which is based off of electron coding. Electron coding is more famous for the stuff that you see like Lapwing's hash edits update for the VR models go. If you don't know who hash edits is, maybe you've seen some of the YouTube shorts where there's the VR models with the very, very, very expressive reactions and facial features and movements and stuff. Hash edits is a French coder who just his work is light years above and beyond basically anybody else's, and he was a huge inspiration for me. I was thinking about doing the 2D modeling myself. I realized that 3D is actually way, way simpler to get started with. I think I would probably rather pay, at least at this point in time, I would rather pay somebody, commission a really good artist to do my 2D model if I were to pursue that. I don't find it completely necessary at this point. I have talked to a couple of people though, just to get some price points on that, and obviously it's really expensive. The money isn't the biggest issue of it, but it is a factor, obviously. I mean, when you're paying, you know, well over $3,000 to $4,000 for maybe some entry-level stuff, it's obviously, you know, pretty expensive. Oh, demonic rune, yay. Love those for raids. Saves me gold. But yeah, so for the 2D model stuff, you know, I am working towards that a little bit. Not necessarily so much financially as I am, you know, just maybe having fun with the 3D model stuff that I'm working on now. Learning about this has been a very, very eye-opening and awesome experience. I have talked to a few other people along the way. I won't mention them here now, but I will, you know, after I talk to them a little bit more, maybe mention them and stuff for where I get some of the inspirations from. I pulled a lot of it from my favorite animated character when I was younger, and that's 2D from the Gorillas. And that's where the white eyes come from and stuff. Also the inspiration. It's supposed to be a dark elf, and I passed away, so this is like the ghostly form of it. That's with the white eyes and all that, and some of the cell shading, color saturation loss into more contrast and stuff like that. The animation style for the hair actually does look a lot like mine. I tweaked a existing one. I don't know the name of it. Maybe I should go back and look at that, but in Vroid Studio, it's like one of the just pre-cut model assets, so I did tweak that. Hi Chris. Chris1, what's up? I will be sure to add you on Discord shortly afterwards, yeah. Hard to do it right in this moment. But yeah, I'll be sure to follow up with you. Thank you so much for commenting. As far as my background and stuff go, oh wait, we're still talking about my model. So as far as the tech goes and stuff, like I said, Vroid, Unity, XR Animator, which is an electron-based coding for the facial features and some extra mouth movement, and also full range hand movements. So that's what I was using for that. That's XR Animator. It is again a free program. Everything I use is free. Vroid, Unity, and XR Animator is the full stack of things. Obviously, when you are streaming, you're just using your model, your VRM, inside of XR Animator. It does a little bit of extra tracking and calibration stuff before you send it over into VC Face. It is a little hard to understand how to send it into VC Face. VC Face is another free program that is used for motion capture, specifically of the facial region, mouth movements, eyes, and stuff. I couldn't get VC Face to work very well with Wink support, even though it is included inside of the program, so that's why I reached out over to the XR Animator stuff and implemented that so that you get individual eye movements and the hand motion and stuff too. It does also do full body motion capture, but I will need to adapt and catch a reference for a good widescreen lens to put over my webcam, because the way that it resizes everything, it has like a very steep limitation to where I don't know where you would set up a normal webcam. Maybe you're supposed to use a different type of camera to do the full range motion capture stuff. I'm really not sure, but the way that I had it, I can barely fit myself into the frame. And I did put it from landscape and portrait and stuff. Like I have a lot of trouble trying to fit myself inside of the frame. So I think that maybe a lens adaptation that I can put over my webcam would be better for specific streams and content where I need to do the full range motion capture for like legs and feet and stuff. But for the time being, I am really happy with where I'm at, having just started, no experience prior for any of this stuff. So, you know, this has all been a very enjoyable learning process, but has had a couple of frustrating moments as well, like with the previous streams that I did delete, with those technical issues and stuff. But I think that everything's resolved now, so I'm really happy and excited about that. I hope that everyone is having a wonderful day. Maybe I can talk about some other stuff now, probably like, as far as my webcam goes, if you have any suggestions and stuff, like for a lens or maybe an upgraded version of webcam, I believe that I have the C99 by Logitech, if I remember correctly. It's a very entry-level streaming webcam, but it's pretty powerful. Like, I mean, even if I'm not using it for the VTubing stuff, it seems like it's really clear. You can use it through OBS Virtual Camera, you can use it directly from webcam link established in programs, and you can also use it for NVIDIA Reflex. I might be saying that wrong. I don't really use the NVIDIA stuff, but you can like eliminate the background and add certain effects and stuff. It's very, even for like a good PC, it's very intensive on CPU and RAM though, so I just avoid it entirely. I thought that this would actually be a lot more intensive using the VTube stuff, and it's not really. I mean, this is less than 2% CPU usage. I'm multi-streaming. I'm using 2 VR facial and body motion capture things. Again, nothing that I'm using is paid for, so I'm not using Leap Motion. I'm not using the I can't think of the other really expensive one that like Fillion uses, that whole rig for 3D motion capture full range. I'm just using my webcam. My webcam catches everything, and normally it's a little bit more tweaky, but I think I fixed some of the lighting stuff in it, and it seems like it's calmed down a lot in regards to that. So really happy with that. It did take a lot of tweaking. I messed with a ton of stuff in it, so I couldn't give you a direct recommendation at this moment, but when I review it later, I probably can, if anyone else is trying to do some of the same stuff that I'm doing here. So yeah, and I am always happy to help with people's questions and suggestions and stuff. So if you ever want to reach out, I will happily respond. As far as my editing stuff goes, let's go with broadcasting now. So obviously I have streaming set up. I am dual mic'd So when I'm further out, you can still pick up the audio from vocals, and it also is tied in to my mouth movements via VC Face and XR Animator. Now, what I use for streaming, what I had some trouble with, what I was originally using was OBS and Stream Elements. Stream Elements destroyed my OBS setup pretty badly, so I've been picking up the pieces from that. I have resolved it using some widget stuff and plugins from Streamlabs, which if you're starting out, I think Streamlabs is a wonderful option. There are free options as well if you want to stream to more than just 2 platforms. I mean, there's Restream, there's some other stuff too. I am only recently starting to use Streamlabs, but it seems like it's very easy to open up and play with, but I'm not using the full version of it. I am using it as a plugin and widget system inside of OBS, which I am more comfortable with, and I feel like in the long run, me getting better at using will be more beneficial to the overall quality of everything that I am trying to do and accomplish. Obviously everybody can go their own route with that kind of stuff though. OBS can be kind of daunting, the same way that my video editor, DaVinci Resolve, is kind of daunting as well. There exist a ton of really solid tutorials in just about every language though, so if you do get discouraged or you don't know, you have that sandbox approach when you try to learn new things, I would highly encourage following a tutorial for that kind of stuff when they are large programs with a ton of features in them. Obviously, you're going to have a little bit of a learning curve that comes with that and is entailed by it. I do always encourage people to, be able to pick up and play with something to see if you like it, but some of the programs you might not like because of how complex they are to get started with. So, tutorials exist on various free watching platforms and written guides and stuff. Those are 2 that if you do decide to use in your own creations and creative content, I would suggest always following a guide first. Like, just to getting started, the different tabs and stuff, or scene collections in OBS, or editing workstations. Like, there's a digital audio workstation built into DaVinci Resolve directly. Obviously with OBS too, for your what is that? 16 Intellect cloth belt level 46, it only sells for 5 gold. Trash! Yeah, so if you have any familiarity with digital audio workstations, DAWs, I would highly recommend DaVinci Resolve. Again, they use it for like Hollywood stuff, for film and video editing purposes, commercialization, big industry work. They do have their own camera setups and everything too, and full rigs, and there's an upgraded version that you can pay for, but the free version comes with every single thing that you would ever need as a video editor. I thoroughly believe that, and I think that you don't need to pay for a video editing software, especially in this day and age. I know ease of function and use is probably a very appealing thing. I would always recommend using the stuff with more support, like OBS and DaVinci Resolve through Blackmagic Studios, for your streaming purposes there, unless you're just trying to stream, like some Xbox gameplay, you have a capture card already, which DaVinci Resolve actually Blackmagic makes a capture card as well. It's supposed to be really good and reputable. I don't play it on console, I play mostly PC stuff, so, I'm not entirely sure about that. I wonder if you saw me. You think so? It's a warrior. Out of time. I'll leave him be. Normally I'm pretty gung-ho about engaging in open world PvP stuff, but And warriors are arguably a pretty easy class to clown on as a druid, just because of the range and the speed and everything. I mean, they do have some interrupts, but if you have a trinket, you're pretty much gonna win that fight. You just sit in bear form for the bullshit, and then trap them up, root them. Nature's Grasp goes a long way, especially my armor. My armor, with just Mark of the Wild on, is 70.5% damage reduction, so over 13k armor, which is just shy of the armor cap, which I don't think anyone else in the game even has. I might be like way up there. There might be a couple of other bear druids that have reached it, but typically you're not going to see that much, especially during the BWL phase of things. It might be a little bit more common though, just because of the PvP ranking gear. But one of the key points is that you want to have Malfurion's Blessed Bulwark, and typically I would actually be at armor cap if I had an elixir and Boots of the Shadow Flame, which drops off of Nefarian and BWL. Oh, evaded. I do tanking. I also have mostly full best in slot gear for Resto, which is the healing spec if anyone doesn't play, and also for Feral Cat, and for Balance, which I have rated with all of them. I have parsed with all of them, so they're all really fun to play. Moonkin can be a little, which is the Balance spec, can be a little repetitive. It's mostly just casting Starfire, so... And it's a greedy class, like you have to use your support buff of using Innervate or mana on, you know, key classes like the Shamans and stuff, who are just busting out massive chain heals over and over and over again. Oh, I accidentally scroll wheeled that. But yeah, so, you know, OBS, Streamlabs, DaVinci are all of my video stuff. What else should I talk about here as far as the audio quality stuff? I do have a little bit of a background with audio, both on the tech side and on the engineering side. I have made some home studios. I have recorded and mixed and mastered and edited music. I've remixed some stuff back in my heyday when I was doing shows and stuff. I come from a little bit of a streaming background before all of this, but you know, nothing too crazy. A lot of this stuff is still going to be very new to me, so again, open to suggestions as they come up. If you notice anything that is worth calling out, I would appreciate it, and I'm happy to try to fix it. As far as a background about me, I am in recovery. I am 3 years sober as of last month. IRL stuff, I am a freelancer, both contracting and doing certain art stuff. I do a lot of philanthropic and volunteer work through my community and my recovery community, and just trying to help people out in general get back on their feet after, you know, substance abuse and homelessness and stuff. I dealt with a lot of homelessness issues when I was still in school, when I was younger, as a child, and you know, my heart goes out to people who have to deal with that kind of stuff. I always try to, you know, pay it forward the same way that the people who helped me out did, which is, you know, it's just the right thing to do. It's not an easy solution. Like, you can't help everybody simultaneously, which is really sad because it seems so doable on a grand scale with a large amount of money, but you're just one person trying to work with a handful of other people, typically in a small area, to try to fix this kind of stuff, and just offer the help where it's needed. You know, not everybody needs or wants help, so it's not always a pity party or anything, but for the people who do want help, I would encourage you to reach out for the resources and stuff. You know, you're not in this alone unless you want to be, so definitely get help if you think that you need it. It can work for you. Like, life can get better, I promise. I am a living testament to that. As far as other stuff, gaming related stuff, I know that you see me gaming now. It's not always going to be gaming content. I do game a lot, so that might be more than half of my content will probably be gaming related. It's not always going to be World of Warcraft. That's just something that has events coming up that I'm focused on at this moment. I do run a guild with a buddy of mine on the Night Slayer PvP server. For the Night Slayer PvP server, we are obviously on the Horde side, as you can tell by my Tauren. Guild is meta. It's hard to look up because we have the spaces to the name. You can check out our logs, obviously on Warcraft logs, to see how we perform with everything. We aren't like the most cutting edge, but we're a mildly successful guild. Pretty newly formed still. And just went through some minor recent drama stuff where a lot of people left. I really don't think that it was entirely about us as a whole, so much as, you know, some people just wanted a different type of maybe leadership or loot system or something. We tried to be pretty inclusive on all of that. Oh, let me move my chat box. Chat box. Move. Okay. That seems like it will probably be good. Maybe I can resize that a little. Yeah. That should still be readable to most people, unless maybe you're on like mobile or something, but... Thanks for the advertisement, Opaque Fighter. Thank you. I appreciate you even tuning in just to promote. What was I talking about? Let's see. Oh yeah. So some of the guild left, a portion of our core raid team, so we are reforming. I think we have most of the stuff rounded out and filled for raid slots and stuff, but going into AQ40 content, which comes out very, very soon, like a week or two from now, depending on how the 10-hour war and the AQ war event, the Encourage war event stuff for the turn-ins go. I know somebody was running around deleting all of the materials that we need for turn-ins on our server. It made like Game Informer news and PC Gamer news, along with like talked about in the Blizzard forums. From what I've heard, I didn't actually check the forum part, but yeah, they're buying up all the stuff and then just mass deleting and vendoring it, so that it postpones the opening of the gates for longer. I think it's more so everyone can get that Scarab Lord title, which is a very highly coveted title, obviously. Okay, if you want, you can get it, bro. Chillin', he's level 55. Hunters are dangerous, though. You never underestimate them as a druid, because the range factor and the pet stuff is... it can give you a hard time, that's for sure. But yeah, so with the upcoming... oh, I got a felt cloth. Got a couple of felt cloth. I missed the first one. With the upcoming AQ stuff, I will probably be playing this most of the time. Especially, like, there's going to be progression rating. I might not stream all the progression rating, just because I'm not sure if other people would be comfortable being, you know, streamed like that. So I will talk to my guild members and we will go over that. If they're okay with it, maybe I will stream at least some of the content. It's not like we're doing world first race or anything though, so it shouldn't be too private. I'm just trying to respect people's you know, performance privacy during the opening stuff. Not everybody has been to AQ, so I gotta cut everyone some slack. We do have a really good raid leader though, Boxing, who just an amazing player overall. I highly suggest that you check out his stream as well. He'll probably be streaming some of the stuff, PvP wise and whatnot soon. He's swapping from his rogue over to his warrior to do tanking, and I think that maybe me, him, and Screw will do some tanking for AQ 20 and 40. and MC, and then I'll just let him and Screw keep tanking. Well, I shouldn't say just let, like they just obviously are the better choice tanking in BWL on untauntable bosses. What else should I yap about? Oh yeah, as far as gaming goes and stuff though, I just wanted to let you know that World of Warcraft is not going to be my only outlet and stream content. It may take up a good portion of it, like at least half for the first month or so of me streaming here. And I think some of the other stuff is probably going to be either collaborative games, or I might try to dip into horror. I've never really played horror games before, but it looks like it's a lot of fun for like a streaming purpose. It's not like they spook me too much. I don't know if I just never got into it the same way like I don't watch a lot of horror films. I have seen some good ones, but it's not something I actively go out and look for. But you know, watching other people play horror games is kind of appealing, so maybe I'll what? What am I on right now, bro? What the heck? Okay, we just float, you know? Everybody floats down here. But yeah, another big series of games that I play, and I don't focus on any one specifically, but obviously, you know, like Space Marine and Dark Tide are some of the newly updated ones. Warhammer 40k. I like Warhammer 40k a lot. I love the lore behind it. The gameplay on most of the games is pretty good. Admittedly, I'm not a very turn-based, optimized personality. I don't really like that as much as I like live action, you know, in the moment stuff. I did hear that like Expedition 33 had like a really good turn-based system, so I might check that out. I kind of feel like the wave is past for that though, and as far as fantasy RPG stuff goes, I have a bunch that I still need to play before I probably go out and start buying new ones. I'm sure everyone understands that struggle. My Steam library is just racked full of a bunch of RPG fantasy games, and I've never really made it through any of them. A lot of them I haven't even opened yet, so maybe we'll tackle some of those. You know, just give initial reactions and stuff like that. Feel of the game, design concepts, artwork, and all that kind of cool stuff. I do really like yapping, if you can't tell, when it comes to talking about my interests and things that I like or don't like. Some other stuff that I want to focus on really is not just gaming, but community growth. I don't mean that in just my own community. I do mean that in, you know, trying to be a positive impact and add support to other streamers, specifically entry level. I wouldn't say entry level, that almost sounds like diminishing. Like starter streamers for VTubing and stuff like that. I really like the VTubing community that I've engaged with so far, and it's always really exciting to see a new person pop up and, you know, talk about their model and talk about their likes and dislikes, and it's just generally a different vibe than you get from, I think, some of the other streamer content, which is really why I pursued it myself. I see a lot of joy and hope in the community. Obviously, you're gonna have a little bit of weirdness too. There's some overlapping genres of stuff. Some of the fans can be fanatics, I'd say, maybe. But to each their own, you know. I'm not trying to judge anybody or anything like that. You just got to take everything in stride and understand that people have their quirks. I think, especially for anybody who actively, you know, engages with streamers or streaming or anything like that. Like, we are all just people at the end of the day, and we all have our favorite things and our less likable, you know, qualities and stuff. So I'm not gonna try to harp on anything. In terms of that community growth, though, it's like I really want to support others, both IRL and streaming. I don't want to call it like charity work necessarily, but I do want to try to help other beginning VTube streamers grow. I think that I learn a lot from others at this point in my life, like this stage. I used to think I knew it all, but coming to realize I don't know much at all about anything, which is nice because it's refreshing to look at something with the intention to listen and understand than it is to I don't know, maybe ignore it out of your own egotistical perception of things. You know, I think it's the folly of youth in general, though, is we think we know maybe a little bit more than we do about stuff, and then something will spring up and you'll be like, dang, I was woefully unprepared for all of that. But yeah, I do want to support other streamers and stuff. You know, obviously, if they want any kind of promotion done for them, I am open to ideas, either in collaboration, word of mouth, you know, maybe rating and stuff like that. I don't know how that works on all of the platforms. I know how to do it on Twitch. I don't know how to do it on the other ones, though. I think Kick might have a pretty easy to implement one as well, but I'll have to look at that a little bit. In terms of other forms of support, though, if you do donate to me, it's obviously not a requirement. I don't even necessarily encourage it, but I do appreciate when it happens. So I want to, you know, just thank people individually for supporting me, my creative outlets, and just my personality in general. So, you know, thank you to the people who do support streamers, whether it's me or whether it's someone else. Like, you really do make our days when that kind of stuff happens. I want to take, after the initial cuts from the various platforms, and maybe a minor amount of recoup costs from stuff. Like, I'd like to donate like about half of what I make here on the platforms, because I'm not trying to do this as a full-time career so much as I'm just trying to have a healthy change of pace in my life, coming from a somewhat toxic community of stuff prior to this new experience. I want to take half of everything that gets donated to me and, you know, put it towards making other new streamers feel good about their work and feel like they made the right decision and stuff. I think that that's a healthy encouragement that doesn't cost much, and I'm not gonna miss the money. And you know, especially at first and stuff too. Like, I think it means a lot to people. So, just a fair warning for anybody who does donate or try to support. I do have links open for that. I am gonna work on trying to get my swipe. I do have Coffee or Ko-Fi, depending on how you say it. That is set up. Subs and stuff are always nice too. I don't necessarily, you know, have a preference on how people support, or, you know, I don't want to even harp on the supporting part too much at all. I just wanted to kind of let people know that I would be taking any kind of monetary gains and stuff and divvying it up and trying to show some love to other players and streamers and stuff like that, just so everyone knew ahead of time. We might do some challenge stuff too, where, you know, like, I do bigger donations for people of your choosing. Like, maybe you guys come from other communities that are big and feature a really talented streamer. I am always happy to learn about new streamers and stuff too. So you know, I don't want to sit here and say like self-promo, but if you look at my community guidelines, like the rules of engagement here in the chat and the streams, I'm not really opposed to people doing their promotional stuff, if it serves a decent purpose. You know, like it'd be nice if you ask first. You know, consent is always a really good thing to try to include when you're meeting new people. Not kind of forcing them to accommodate to your wants or needs. You know, obviously that goes a long way in terms of friendship and stuff. So I do want to be friends with everybody. I don't want to have to do anything dramatic and remove people from the chat for being weird or rude or anything like that. So try to just, you know, respect other people's boundaries and everything. I don't mind promotional stuff as long as you know, maybe say something first, or either reach out via DMs prior, or you can even just say it in the chat, like, hey, you should check out, you know, do you mind if I stream this content? Do you mind if I say something about it real quick? And like if it's during a lull or something, then yeah, absolutely. I don't want it to detract from important subjects that maybe I deem important more so than everyone else. I mean, if you do think that I'm yapping, then strap in, because that's kind of the whole point, is being a personality when you do this sort of thing. Even if you are having that extra layer of removal from the interaction by, you know, one, being online and also being a VTuber. There are some things that come with VTubing too, I think, that, you know, I'm not always sure about, because I am new to it, not only in the sense of being one myself, but also viewing, like being a fan of VTubing, I guess you would say. There might be some etiquette stuff, like obviously you don't say people's real names for the sake of their protection, especially for the girls who do this. Try to be respectful about that, like name dropping, even if you know me IRL, probably isn't necessary. Definitely don't do it to people whose safety is a little bit more of a priority. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna come and mess with me, but that is a thing that does happen to people who stream of all types, or that, you know, people maybe give a little bit too much importance to in their lives. So, you know, I just wanted to touch base on that. If you are a fellow VTuber and I mention your name or something, not like your IRL government name or anything, but you know what I'm saying, like if I reference you while talking about a subject or anything, and I wasn't supposed to do that, I'm normally pretty good about thinking before I speak, especially about others. If it is something that I've said that is like upsetting, or, you know, maybe like I don't know necessarily, maybe like it would be considered clout chasing or something, but if somebody sends me a clip of your stuff, I'm probably not clicking it because I think it'll get me more views. I'm probably clicking it because I'm trying to interact with the community and stuff. So, you know, apologies in advance if that does happen. I don't mind talking about it either, though. I'm not going to just ignore people if they feel like they have something that they want to discuss with me. So I just wanted to put fair warning out. I am new to this stuff, so a little patience goes a long way, but also I'd rather somebody say something and me know than maybe a less healthy way of handling it. Like, I'd rather just, you know, take care of things as they come up, and I can't always foresee everything in this world. Definitely want to be a supporter, though, and not a hater, not a shit talker, not a clout chaser, not, you know, I don't want to do any of those things, so I hope I never give anybody that sort of impression. But again, DMs are open for anybody who does want to discuss anything going forward. Okay. I might do some art streams. I'm not like the best artist. I do a lot of mixed media stuff, so I'm not like very formally trained. I did some art classes like in middle and high school, but it wasn't like my primary thing. I can sketch kind of decently, and I say that with, you know, take that with a pinch of salt. I'm not like a artist. I could maybe make a few bucks off of it, but that's probably not a career path that I could pursue without a lot more practice. But I might do some art stuff as far as streaming goes, like if I'm making some of my own designs or some of my own art or doing updates to certain things that I already interact with, or I am happy to do art reviews. I haven't really thought about that until just this moment, but I know that like fan art comes up a lot. Hopefully not too cursed of fan art, but I don't mind, you know, maybe looking at viewer submissions and stuff, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about me. Like I don't really care what it's about. If you want to showcase your art, I like art, so send it to me. Probably easiest via Twitter or in the Discord DMing, or maybe I'll make like a whole text channel for that to accommodate for everybody. I don't necessarily know yet. I again just thought of it. It just crossed my mind that that might be a thing that comes up at some point. If you have suggestions about that, I am open. I do encourage people to do what they love, and if they love making art, whatever kind it is, I think that they should probably do that. What else? Maybe I tell you a couple of my favorite things. I really like the color purple. I really like pastel pink. I really like orange for some reason when it's my own name. Maybe it's it's probably the druid influence. I've been playing this game for a long time, so orange is just kind of a comfort pick on seeing my own name in places. So kudos to anybody who makes my name orange in whatever context that they're using it. I typically try to do that myself, especially on the streaming platforms and whatnot. My favorite precious metal is rose gold. I like rose gold. I think it goes with pastel pink and black and some of my favorite other colors. Like it doesn't go. I mean, you know, orange maybe not so much, but purple, it definitely pops with the purples, especially the more like ethereal, psychic kind of influence colors of purple on that spectrum. My favorite foods, probably lasagna and brownies. I know that those are two terrible probably things for you, but I love them so much. I think that when you're doing something, you know, like if you're gonna indulge in a guilty pleasure like that, you should just go all out. Like, don't hold back. Do things for the enjoyment of doing them, and don't limit yourself in that one moment, but have a maybe a sense of refinement and you know, self-control outside of that. Like, don't eat lasagna and brownies every single day, even though thinking about that sounds really awesome. Too much of anything can go from being good to bad, obviously. I drink a lot of caffeine, mostly in the form of coffee or tea, more so coffee than tea. I also drink energy drinks and Something happened. I don't know what that alert was, though. Oh, it's a Ko-Fi stream bot, I think. Maybe I can turn that notification sound alert off. Because it's just a bot, right? We don't really need to get distracted by the bots. The bots are there to not distract us and handle things for us. So, probably a quality of life improvement if I mute that. Gosh, what was I yapping about? I talked about lasagna and bronies. Energy drink. Energy. I think that sugar-free Red Bull is probably the best energy drink ever made in existence forever. If I got sponsored by sugar-free Red Bull, I would immediately drink too much of it, for sure. I already drink too much of it, and I pay out of pocket for it. So, other good ones though, like I know everyone has their own. Two other notable mentions though for energy drinks, since I drink them a lot. I'm probably to an unhealthy number. Is the Ultra Vice Guava by Monster. Super good. I like that one a lot. Sugar-free stuff just hits. I don't really drink sugar. I don't eat sugar outside of like the occasional guilty pleasure. And then drinking sugar, like it feels weird. Like you're already getting the caffeine. I don't know. Maybe it's a hot take. I don't want to dump on people who like a sugary energy drink. Maybe that goes right back to the brownie discussion. But yeah, so I like that. Gorilla Mind is another one that just came out. It's from, I believe, the guy who made, More Plates, More Dates, and I really like some of the flavors from his stuff. It also includes saffron in it, so I don't know if anyone has ever bought saffron before, but it's a really expensive ingredient. So I thought it's probably like an extract or something. I don't know the level of inclusion that it is. I just thought it was something worth mentioning. That's not what drew my attention to it originally either. It was just I had a buddy who watches More Plates, More Dates, and he recommended it, and I like a lot of their flavors, and they're a good price point, and they're at the gas station by my house. So yeah, I saw them and I drank them, and I liked it. And then the reason I like coffee is dark roast coffee and an espresso are really freaking good. Dang, I still only have 2 fell cloth. I feel like I've been killing stuff forever, but I might have just been running around in circles. But yeah, I like the no more robust flavors on coffee and stuff. If you can't tell, my favorite clothing color is black. My favorite word is grandiloquent. Grandiloquent is a large and unnecessary word used to describe other large and unnecessary words, which is super funny to me. So I always like it when I hear that word out in the world or read it somewhere. Obviously not a very easy word to use in most situations, but I guess you could if you're reaching a little bit, depending on the subject matter. I like a lot of fantasy and sci-fi influenced stuff, so you know, World of Warcraft and 40K are kind of right up my alley. Also for reading and stuff, like fantasy just hits super well. Like I loved a lot of different fantasy genres, but I've had trouble reading them a little bit since. I read a little bit while I was, you know, primarily in recovery for stuff, and I read Name of the Wind and Wise Man's Fears, and I haven't read the other one about Bast. I did read the one about Ari though, and I thought that was a really cool concept for a book. I like Patrick Rothfuss's writing very much. I obviously am on the same page with everybody else about it though, where, you know, book, want more book. But you gotta respect the artist and the creator when that kind of stuff happens. I couldn't write one of them. I don't know how anyone can complain about him writing two and more even. I hope that anything he does with it in the future is sees the success that it deserves, and I know he's been really good to the fantasy writing, fanfic community and stuff like that. I don't know. I haven't checked up lately on what he has going on in life, but hopefully he's doing really well. If he ever sees this, I hope that you know that I loved your work. Love your work still. I will go back and reread it. It's one of the only books that I will ever reread because it's written so freaking perfectly. Other things that I like theory crafting, which means I like to crunch a lot of numbers when it comes to not necessarily complex equations or algorithms, but the back-end math that happens in MMOs. The reason I play Druid is because the math on it is a little wonky, and it gives you a lot of versatility if you can squeeze certain attributes and stat numbers in at the right places or at the right time. You get a lot more oomph out of some of the actions, or you make things that normally wouldn't be feasible much more feasible. In Classic WoW, TBC, and even Wrath of Lich King, I typically only play Druid. Once it gets past that point and into Kata, Mop, etc. Legion, I played a lot of Druid also, but I was branching out quite a bit. When it comes to like PvP, Gladiator level play, I play a lot of PvP across a lot of different specs. The only one I'm not really good at is, well, I wouldn't say I'm really good at, but you know, I wouldn't say that I'm like a Gladiator level player on, is definitely Rogue. Gives me the most trouble, even though it's so similar to Feral Druid, but Feral Druid is just always, I don't know, it's hard to explain. A Feral Druid combo is especially drastically different, even though it uses the same metric of energy consumption and combo points and stuff like that. It's meant to reflect it, but Rogue's is just way more amplified. There's things that you can't do in cat form, too, especially early on. So yeah, and then just circling back to horror games and stuff, I think that I will probably start playing at least a couple of them. If you have any recommendations, I would greatly appreciate it. I want to get into it at some point in the very near future, so send them my way. I will buy stuff. If there's multiplayer ones, I'm happy to play with multiple people on it. I really like watching content like that. Very that sounds so much jump scare, but like I don't know, I just feel like you get a better range of emotion from the streamer when they play horror stuff. And I think it gives a little bit more chat involvement because you kind of feel like you're there with them, and also there's things that you can implement, especially nowadays, that can make it even more difficult and involved for the community, where you don't really get that for like World of Warcraft. Like maybe I could pug with people. I'm happy to do that if you are a gamer. In this game specifically, or any other game that does support multiplayer stuff, though, I'd be happy to bounce in and shoot the shit and play the game and make some new friends and have fun. I really don't get bored. I just try to learn new stuff. So that's I don't really do anything when I get bored because I'm always doing something. I feel like, unless I'm sick. If I'm sick, I try to distract myself. That's the only time I ever really feel bored. Is like you're just stuck somewhere. No real way to feasibly go somewhere else, and you're forced to basically try to distract yourself. I don't know if that makes any sense when I'm saying it, but you ever been like forced to not do anything, almost like being grounded? That's what it feels like to me. It feels like I'm being grounded when I'm sick. I suck at being sick though. I just try to sleep through as much of it as I can, and I think that's the biggest cheat code, is just like sleep as much as you can while you're sick. I think it does a lot for you, especially if you can't keep food down and stuff. Like just drink what water you can, maybe eat some ice chips, and just lay down, be as comfy as you possibly can, and just rest, man. It goes a long way. I used to try to work through it all the time, and like I can't even be bothered anymore, man. I gotta get my rest so I can feel better, so I can work extra hard later, you know? Like I was trying to work through being sick yesterday, and I was like, I'm not even gonna deal with this right now. I'm going to bed, man. But yeah, I don't know, maybe we could do like, I think another cool thing to do would be maybe some watch parties in the disc, once we get some people in there. I do have most of the streaming platform stuff, and you know, I'd love to watch along with you guys. I'm open to suggestions too. Like I don't really watch a ton of stuff. The stuff that I do watch is normally stuff that I feel like I could watch over again. Especially with certain like animes. Like I really loved Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I'm really glad that they're coming out with another version of that, and they're working on the next game, and I love Cyberpunk, and it's just all good. It's all good things. That show, fuck, it broke me when it released. I was obsessed with that. I think they did such an amazing job on that. Trigger and Project Red and everyone who was involved. I actually don't know the full range of people or anything. I probably should look into it more, but yeah, that anime just went so hard in my heart and my mind for a while. Some other really good ones that I have watched, and I know this is probably all pretty basic bish things, but I really like Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. I thought that the anime was perfect. That was a perfect anime. It has a little bit of everything for everyone. The tropes are still there. The fan service stuff is not as you know, cursed. Yeah, I think that they did a really good job with that. I haven't read the manga. I don't know nothing about it outside of just the show. I don't read a lot of manga. I'll be upfront with you. I don't mind watching in like sub or dub. I don't have a preference. I know that's probably kind of a weird thing. That's a hill to die on for a lot of people. I just like watching it. You know, call me simple. Ooh, another demonic ring, yay! I'm surprised nobody's tried to hit me yet. Oh, I don't have Omen of Clarity up. I don't have any buffs up besides just the form and talent ones. Not that it's necessary, but you know, you should always have them rolling. Don't cost much. How frequently does that? Oh, I don't have timestamps on to tell. I might reduce the frequency of the Ko-Fi announcement. It especially looks weird when there's no one in the chat, right? Huh? But yeah, I hopefully that lets you get to know a little bit more about me. If you do have any other questions and stuff, send them my way. I'll try to address them in my next stream. You can join the community, which is just starting over at Discord. I will try to be posting more on X, but I'm new to using like Twitter stuff. I never really used a whole lot of social media prior to all of this. I mostly just streamed into the void and never had the void scream back, you know? I like shooters a lot too. If we're still talking about games, I guess we are because I'm talking about it. I like shooters a lot. First person preferential to third person. I think third person kind of loses some of the self insertion that first person shooters bring. I can deal with it in fantasy a lot easier than I can with... Why is it asking me to okay every time I pick one of these up? And also, where is my felt cloth? I need my felt cloth. I need it. Please. What was I talking about? Oh, FPS. Yeah, FPS shooters, first-person shooters. It's like saying ATM machine. FPS games are a lot of fun, especially if they include, you know, newer concepts than just being man, hold gun, shoot enemy. I suppose at a base level, that's what all those games are, but things that are, you know, explorative into new directions are always really, really cool. I love it when somebody comes up with something new, you know, mixes it up a little bit, influences some other people, creates some other new ideas from it. It's just a cool idea. Life can be so beautiful sometimes when you think about stuff like that. Like one thing just leads to another and does more stuff, and more things are created because of it, and more people become happy about it, and yeah. I don't think I ever want to talk about politics. So if you're a big politically influenced person, I probably won't respond to anything you say about it. I don't really believe in politics, in all honesty. I know they exist and whatnot, but I'm just happier in my own world. I think if I cared, I would probably care a little too much and call it blissful ignorance, I suppose. It's not something that is even on my radar, so I figured I should just warn people about that too. I know some streamers like talking about that stuff. I don't care if you talk about it, I just don't talk about it, you know? So it's not like I'm trying to limit anyone's voice about anything, I just don't, you know? Not interested a lot of the time. So fair warning for that. think that's probably all I really want to. We're pushing like an hour and a half almost. I'm pretty happy with how all of this turned out. My own work on things, the stuff that's available that I covered, that's all free resources. If you ever need a list of those free resources, my Discord server has them in the resources channel. It's a growing thing, which is like just a longer list. Every day I learn about another new program or concept or something. I do have people that I would suggest to follow, but I think I should maybe talk to them first before I just promo other people. And yeah, let me see what's going on here. I might be able to. I'm gonna be wrapping up here shortly, so. I've never really had to go from one of these screens into another one like that, but I think I can. Is there a way to? You can't just raid from OBS, can you? I also have viewer count like turned off, so I have no idea if there is even anyone watching, so hard to say if it's worth raiding somebody, you know. Maybe that's something that we do a little bit more later on, and hopefully no one's mad that I'm wasting viewers if I have anyone watching. But yeah, thank you for tuning in or rewatching if you're seeing this a little later point in time. I appreciate any and all support that you choose to show, whether it's, you know, just viewing or if you want to shoot a follow for future content. I have the other platforms and stuff that you can find me on as well. It's all pretty easy to locate. It's just at Ovrdosdghost typically. I think only one of them deviates from that, and that's YouTube. I appreciate everybody who tunes in or tells a friend or anything of that nature. And thank you for giving me a chance to talk to you about myself. I thank you for that. It means a lot for you giving me your time. And I hope that everybody has a wonderful rest of their day. It was nice to meet all of you, and take care, okay? Bye.